Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 15 is entitled as Purushottama Vidya, Purushottama Yogam. Sloka 20, Part 5. Iti guhya-tamaṁ śāstram idam uktaṁ mayānagha etad buddhvā buddhimān syāt kṛta-kṛtyaś bhārata. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. In the past few sessions, we have been studying the glories of the Supreme Lord, that He is superior than everyone else. He is the one who is being worshipped by all karmas. That Supreme Lord is with full of attributes. Saguna, the Lord who has full of attributes, also has divine form, and that is what we are going to learn in today's session. Some philosophies say that the absolute truth, Brahman, the Lord who creates, sustains and destroys this universe, does not have a form. He is formless. But that is not right. The Upanishads and Brahma Sutra clearly state that the Lord does have a divine form. In Chandogya Upanishad, it is said, Yas saha antaradityo hiranmaya purushaha trishyate hiranyasmarshuhu hiranyakeshaha apranakat sarva eva savarnaha tasya yata kapyasam pundarikamevam akshini. The Supreme Lord, Purusha, Purushottama, has an effulgent and blissful form. He has effulgent hair, effulgent moustache, and his form is made of pure bliss, right from his toe and fingernails to all his limbs. He shines like gold and very attractive. His eyes are like lotus flower, blossomed by the rising sun. It is the form, divine form of the Lord, which is the mode, the means of worship for his devotees. When we compare his qualities, his attribute and his divine form, the divine form is considered to be greater than his attributes, the Swarupa. The characteristic of one's body can be identified as tall, short, dark, fair, fat, thin, etc. All these are to the body. But the characteristic like compassion, simplicity, generosity, merciful, etc., those are not the characteristic of body, but the characteristic of the Atma. It is not that one can show how compassion looks like, simplicity looks like, generosity looks like, but one can see and cognize that he is tall, he is short, he is dark, he is fair. If we have to understand the Lord, his qualities, it is only through his action we will know his Swarupa. That is, how do we know he is Karunya? We know only when he came down to save Gajendra. If he has not come down to save Gajendra, then the quality of Karunya wouldn't made any sense to us. It will be on paper. If the Lord has not descended in his divine form as Lord Ramachandra, we wouldn't have known what it means to say the Lord is accessible. He is simple. If the Lord wouldn't have descended and performed his pastimes in Vrindavan, in Mathura, and in Dwaraka, we wouldn't have known his supremacy. So, to know most of his Swarupa, who is full of knowledge, bliss, and who is Vibhu, we need to know his actions. So, through knowing those actions, one gets attracted to him. But when it comes to his divine form, there's nothing else is needed. Just his divine form alone attracts anyone and everyone. Therefore, it is said his divine form compared to his other attributes is greater. This divine form of the Lord is eternal, unchanging, and doesn't have any mix of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. It is purely of Shuddha Sattva. The body that we have is not called as divine. It is material. It is not eternal. It is perishable, temporary, because it is the byproduct of Mula Prakriti. And also our body continuously goes through changes. And moreover, our body being the byproduct of Prakriti is mix of Sattvaguna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Our body brings darkness, ignorance, whereas the Supreme Lord's body is eternal, unchanging, full of Shuddha Sattva, and it is illuminating, effulgent, free of darkness. Our body will cover the true Atma, but the divine form, divine body of the Lord illuminates the Lord, and that form possesses limitless luster, possesses countless auspicious qualities like tenderness, beauty, fragrance, etc. In Mundaka Upanishad, it is said, Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, nema vidyato bhanti, kutoyam agnihi, tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam, tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Neither the sun, nor the moon, nor the stars, nor the lightning has any effulgence in front of the Lord. Then what to speak of the light of the fire? It is by the Lord's luster everything is illumined, and this is the form which captures the heart of his devotees. This is the form that is meditated upon by yogis, captures the heart of one and all. It is said in the Mundaka Upanishad, Vidyate hridaya grantihi, chidyante sarva samshayah, kshiyante chasya karmani, tasmin drishte paravare. Just by having the vision of the Lord, one's hard knot in the heart is pierced. All the misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of fruitive actions are terminated. The vision of the divine form of the Lord creates aversion from all worldly pleasures. It steals one's worries and troubles once for all. This beautiful form of the Lord not only attracts his devotees, it attracts anyone and everyone. In Srimad Ramayana, we see where Surpanaka, who is an Rakshasi, glorifies the beautiful form of the Lord. Taruno Rupa Sampanno Sukumaro Mahabalo Pundarika Vishalaksho Chira Krishna Jinambaro. Even she got attracted to the beautiful form of Ramachandra. She was glorifying his gentle look, the beautiful lotus-like eyes, his garments. Though she has lost her nose and ears, she did not lose her heart for the Lord's beautiful form. For all these reasons, the divine form of the Lord is considered superior. In Sharanagati Gadya, Sripad Ramanujacharya says, Kirita Makuta Chudavatamsa Makara Kundala Graivekaya Hara Keyura Kataka Srivatsa Kaustubha Muktadhama Udhara Bandhana Pitamvara Kanchi Guna Nupuradi Aparamita Divya Bhushana. The divine form of the Lord is decorated with all sorts and kinds of ornaments, most wonderful to hold in one's vision, which is everlasting, faultless, sweet-smelling, soft to touch, splendorous. That form has kirita, crown, ear ornaments, necklace, garland, shoulder bracelet, bracelets in the hands, Srivatsa and Kaustubha, pearl garlands, gold waistband and leg ornaments, and other and more precious and innumerable ornaments on his divine form. Even the chakra and shankha, that is the disc and conch shell, are also considered to be ornaments for the Lord. There are 5 levels to the divine form: Para, Vyuha, Vibhava, Antaryami and Archa. Para is the spiritual world where the Lord is present in his divine form. Kurmadin Divyalokam Tadanu Manimaya Mandapam Tatra Sesham Tasmin Dharmati Pitam Tadupari Kamalam Chamara Grahinischa Vishnum Devihi Vibhusha Yudagana Muragam Padike Vainateyam Senesham Dwarapalan Kumudamukha Ganan Vishnu Bhaktan Prapatye. The Lord in the spiritual world is surrounded by his consort and his devotees. Everyone over there is fully engaged in serving the Supreme Lord. Next, the divine form that the Lord takes is Vyuha, Vyuhamurtis, which is known as Chaturvyuha, Vasudeva, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. In Vasudeva, all the 6 opulences are fully present: Jnana, Aishwarya, Shakti, Bhala, Virya, Tejasa. Whereas Shankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha has 2 of each. That is, Shankarshana possesses Jnana and Bhala, Pradyumna possesses Aishwarya and Virya, Aniruddha possesses Shakti and Tejas. That doesn't mean they don't have the other 4. They all have all the 6. But what is more prominent is what has been mentioned here. The reason it is prominent is for their function, respective functions to do. They are involved in creation, maintenance and destruction. Then one may ask, what about Brahma, Vishnu and Lord Shiva? We have been always told that they are the Trimurtis for creation, maintenance and destruction. This is clarified in Vishnu Purana. It says, Shrishti Sthiti Antakarini Brahma Vishnu Sivatmikam Sasamnyam Yati Bhagavan Eka Eva Janardanaha. This sloka is meant to emphasize that though conventionally the devatas known as Shiva and Brahma as destroyer and creator of this universe, in actuality all these actions ultimately happens by the Supreme Lord, Paramatma, Bhagavan, Sri Vishnu. As we have learnt quite few times now, that it is the Lord who is present as Antaratma within Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Varuna, etc. So we have seen the Lord in his spiritual form in the spiritual world. Next, the Lord who expands himself into Chaturvyuha. Next is Vibhava. Vibhava are nothing but the Lord when he descends into this world. His incarnations, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Vamana and so forth. As he appears into this world, he never loses any of his divine, auspicious qualities. He is not born out of karma, but out of his sankalpa. His divine form is not made of 5 material elements, and he appears into this world whenever there is adharma arises and dharma declines. And the main purpose for his appearance into this world is to give his association to his devotees who cannot wait until end of their life to join him in the spiritual world. Krishna himself directly mentions these things in the 4th chapter. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bhārata abhyuktānaṁ adharmasya tadatmānam srajamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant race of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. What do you do after you descend, Krishna? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. Krishna here says to establish, to re-establish the real dharma. The question is, what is dharma? It is said, Krishnam dharmam sanatanam. That is, dharma is Krishna, Krishna is dharma. So he is coming back to establish himself because he is the giver of moksha. Say, when I do a puja to attain something, then that puja which is being performed becomes dharma for me, because that puja is what gets me what I wanted. Similarly, if I want to attain the Lord, attain moksha, the one that gives me moksha becomes dharma. In this case, it is only Krishna who gives salvation for those who are interested. Therefore, he is known as dharmam. That's what it meant when Krishna said dharma samstapana, to re-establish, to establish dharma, to establish himself as the giver of moksha. And one who understands this, his transcendental nature of his appearance and activities, does not upon leaving the body take his birth again in this material world, but attains his spiritual eternal abode. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo viti tattvataha tektva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. So that is about Vibhava. So we have covered Para, Vyuga and Vibhava. The 4th is Antaryami. This is the form that Paramatma who resides within each and every living entities, Jivatma. This form of 2 types. One that is present in all the living entities in general, and one that present within the heart of the yogis. Within the living entities, the Lord is present in the form of Jnana and Ananda, whereas in the heart of yogis, he is present in the 4-handed form, Ankushta Matra Purushaha. This form is only present in the heart of yogis who meditates upon this 4-handed form of the Lord as Paramatma. That covers 4 levels of forms: Para, Vyuga, Vibhava, Antaryami. Lastly, Archa. This is the form in which the Lord resides in every temple, the deity form, and in every household. concealing all his supremacy and exhibiting all his simplicity. The yogis can see the Lord in their heart. One who performs homa and yajna can see the Lord in the sacrifice. One who has samadharshana, equal vision, can see the Lord in all the living entities. For those who are unable to see the Lord within the heart, one is unable to see the Lord in the sacrifices. One is unable to see the Lord in all living entities, can see the Lord in the divine form of Archa Vigraha, in the deity form. In this form, the Lord is so very merciful and very simple. He accepts whatever offering has been done to him by his devotees. What we have seen is just a summary of these 5 levels of divine form of the Lord. Each one of these has lot more details which can be studied based on individual interest. So in this session, we have learned that the Lord has divine form. He is not formless. One may ask a question, can the Lord be formless? If we say no, then he is incapable of doing something. If we say yes, then 2 contradicting statements. To resolve this, we must understand that God has his divine form, and formless, being formless, is also one of his divine form. In this way, there is no contradiction at all. This knowledge that we have learned so far in this chapter is considered to be the most confidential part of Vedic scriptures. Understanding this subject, one becomes knowledgeable in the ways of worship, and as one who has fulfilled all that have to be done to attain the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna in his spiritual abode. In our next session, we will see the overview of this chapter. Iti guhya-tamaṁ śāstram idam uktaṁ mayānagha etad buddhvā buddhimān syāt kṛta-kṛtyaś bhārata. Namaste. Hare Krishna.